Basically, what we wanted to accomplish from the beginning of this company is we wanted to build a rifle that had bench rest accuracy, but still had field reliability. Usually you have to compromise accuracy to get field reliability or vice versa. So basically we came up with our ATAS system, or Axial Trajectory Alignment System, basically making everything perfectly aligned with the bore of the barrel. And then we have our asymmetric receiver design system, which basically allows loose tolerances when you're cycling the bolt and very tight tolerances when it's locked up and ready to go. So we basically have bench rest accuracy, but it's very reliable, clearing dirt, mud, and grime in the field. And all of that technology is built into all of our rifles. And the Mountain Shadow is just another platform that we use that technology to its full potential.
My God, I can't wait to get back on the mountain somewhere, and my whole life is centered around it. I don't know if I'll, if I even care to ever deer hunt or, elk hunt again. I mean, they're great. I don't want to take anything away from that, but there's something you can't cheat a sheep hunt.
Welcome to the RNA Outdoors podcast, fueled by Ripcord Arrow Rest and First Light Hunting Apparel. At RNA, we are public land DIY conservationists that love to share our passion for the outdoors. So join us and our team as we interview professionals in the industry to share insight knowledge that helps make hunters and anglers more successful. Hey listeners, subscribers, and fellow outdoorsmen and women. This is your host, Lucas Paugh, and I'm excited to tell you about some of the sponsors that continue to help make this podcast not only happen, but grow and thrive in this digital world of audio content. This podcast is brought to you by Ripcord Arrow Rest, the bow hunter's #1 fall-away rest on the market. Ripcord is known for 100% full-time arrow containment in their patented drop-dead brake system that eliminates launcher bounce back. Best of all, Ripcord is backed by their rock-solid guarantee. If the original owner has a part break for any reason, it will be repaired or replaced at no charge. And did I mention, Ripcord is located in southwest Montana, where all their products are made with pride in America. Check them out at ripcordarrowrest.com and on their social media feeds. This podcast is brought to you by First Light Clothing and Hunting Apparel. Born in the Rockies in central Idaho, First Light's mission is to create simple, yet proven, versatile gear that provides comfort and performance in any situation while working to promote the pursuit of ethical hunting and stewardship. I recently joined the First Light Pro staff team and have continued to be impressed year after year in their innovations in engineering of merino wool fabrics. 10 years ago, they started putting out wool fabrics with camo patterns, and immediately this changed the game. Since then, they offer multiple layering systems and kits in various proprietary patterns and continue to raise the bar with their competition. Find them online at firstlight.com or under their social media feeds. Go farther, stay longer.
There's Spazzy.
I think his handle.
Do you know what Drew just called you? Put your headset on. You know what Drew just called you? It's your hashtag handle on Instagram.
Spazzy. Oh, that's what Rachel did. Here comes Spazzy.
You see him and now you don't.
We actually came up with a different handle for your blog or whatever.
What is
Dirty
it?
Hammer.
Oh, we're gonna kill Drew today. We're gonna kill Drew today. Is there a height requirement to be on this podcast?
Yeah, you gotta get off here.
So we are here in Reno at the Sheep Show 2019, the last day of the Sheep Show. It's been a really good show as usual. It's good to see old friends, good to see new friends, make new friends, meet outfitters, and we're back here with a friend of the podcast we actually spoke with last year, Axial Precision. Both Drew Foster and Kurt Baugher are here with us here at their booth at the Sheep Show, and I want to welcome them back to the RNA Outdoors podcast. Welcome, Kurt and Drew.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Always good to see you, brother.
I know. And what better venue to do it at?
Oh, the Sheep Show. Yeah.
Sheep Show.
The only thing that could have made it better is if I'd have won that live member hunt this morning. So.
Yeah, well, or last night at the 1% Club, I had someone I knew or maybe me want to hunt there.
I will not go to the 1% Club just out of spite from what happened to me last year in Idaho. So.
Yeah. You could talk about that, or we don't have to talk about that?
We don't have to talk about that.
You have to hunt more than 3 days to kill a sheep.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
We won't go into that, though.
No.
But, no, this show to me has always been one that when I think about when you get a bunch of actual extreme mountaineering hunters in one room, I mean, this is a show where you do it at, right? I mean, this type of hunting is not for the faint of heart. Kurt, as you know, you've done it. I've been on a sheep hunt. I've never done one for myself, but these guys are hunters, and that's why I enjoy being here, because it's a family, right? It's a tight-knit family of hunters. So it's good to be here.
It's a different mindset. I've done a lot of stuff in my life, and I got to tell you that overwhelming was a feeling. God, fear, overwhelm, pressure. You've got this tag that if you pull the trigger, you never draw again, which can prevent you from pulling the trigger.
Sure.
And I got young kids. I got my daughter here with me today, and I got young kids. But just the stuff that goes through your head, and you get up there and you're like, my God, I'm never going to do this again. And then, the moment you get home, I remember writing a note to myself. I took notes the whole time. I wrote a note.
Journaled your hunt?
Yeah.
That's
and
cool.
It was, I have a decision to make whether I'll ever do this again or not. I'm either in or I'm out. And, a friend of mine used to always tell me, he says, you're going to make a decision, Baugher, whether you're in or you're out. And you'll know when you know.
Yeah.
And, it was just crazy because he said that, and then a few weeks, months later, you're faced with it, and then now it's like, my God, I can't wait to get back on the mountain somewhere, and my whole life is centered around. I don't know if I'll, if I even care to ever deer hunt or elk hunt again. I mean, they're great. I don't want to take anything away from that, but there's something. You can't cheat a sheep hunt.
Yeah, it's a magical thing to do.
You can't cheat a sheep hunt.
Yeah.
And to anybody that goes out and gets after it on public land, friend of mine, Brendan Burns, I mean, the amount of animals that guy has killed, backcountry, public lands, the animals you kill, it's incredible. I give hats off to anybody that does that. The sheep guides, my God, the sheep guides, we talk about going on a few hunts a lifetime. Those guys go insane.
They've killed hundreds of sheep in their life, right? Or been a part of hundreds of kills of sheep.
Exactly. Yeah. But what they have to go through, because not only do they got to go through it for themselves, they got to carry somebody through it mentally that's never done it before.
Keep them positive. Keep them pumped up.
Yep.
That can be some of the hardest part sometimes. I mean, as we all know, you get some of these tags, and if you've got friends there, I think part of their role is to keep you positive, right? Keep you energized, to keep you go and you miss a shot, or you get close on an animal and it doesn't happen, and you go back to camp and you're frustrated. I mean, that's part of why you have your friends there, is to help build you up, right?
Biggest mistake I made this year, two big mistakes. One, not doing enough of my own scouting, and two, not having a friend with me. At the last minute, I told the guy that was going to go with me, I said, no, I said, the outfitter's really not wanting anybody else to go. We have a certain pocket we're going to, and that was a bad, I should have had somebody there.
Sure.
Should have had somebody. For a lot of reasons, because we actually got in on a spot. We had a toad of a ram spotted. We had about a 189 ram spotted and couldn't get in on him. But as soon as we thought we were going to be in on him and we were going to go and we're going to kill this ram, I mean, at one point, Brian looks back and he goes, we're going to kill him in just a couple hours. And the first thing I thought of is, I have no one here to enjoy it with me.
Yeah.
As weird as that sounds, right?
Yeah. And sometimes the thrill of being by yourself, I mean, there's a lot of people like to solo hunt, but I like to share that experience with other people, right? Because pictures, video can only do so much versus being there in the moment when that happens.
Yeah.
So,
But everybody should get into the mountains solo at least once, even if you're not hunting, if you're just going back doing pictures. I give credit to those guys too. I mean, get back and get after it. But so today, we introduced the Mountain Shadow.
Let's talk about
on Wednesday, and this is a project that I've been working on for about 5 years, and it's through the culmination of just gathering a lot of data, working with a lot of guides, a lot of prolific sheep guides, guys that just get after it and kill sheep every year, a lot of sheep hunters, taking information and data from them. And we had some specific goals with the rifle. The goal of the rifle was it had to be sub 7.5 pounds scoped and loaded.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
7 pounds.
Took a lot of effort. To be able to get down to that weight.
Yeah.
And basically what it turned into is we had to design the rifle around the cartridge.
Yep. And so another goal was we wanted to have at least 1,600 feet a second at 1,000 yards. And there's some, most sheep hunters,
pounds of energy.
Most sheep hunters will never shoot past. When we were doing all the research, the guys were telling us 400 yards, 500 yards max. A couple of the Marco Polo guys said 750 if they got a real clear. Sometimes that's all you get, right?
Sure.
And but the other thing was one rifle and really one cartridge for any continent. It's like this is my sheep rifle. So that was one of the goals. It had to shoot half-minute MOA.
Okay.
That half MOA, that was an absolute must. It had to be able to get in and out of a float plane. And it's funny because the original sketch I have of the booth, and this booth was already done, but the original sketch I had around the booth for the Mountain Shadow has a float plane, a mountain in it, and a horse, because it has to be able to get in and out of a pack. And yesterday, we were with the guys at QU getting it in and out of packs, and the first thing that they said was, wow, this is light. This thing fits, you know. And we got some other packs here today that they've been wanting to show off here of how the gun fits in and out of a pack. But again, so it had to be in and out of a pack, in and out of a horse scabbard, in and out of a float plane, in and out of a raft, anything you're going to find yourself in a weird position. A lot of guys are shooting these big semi-tactical, 100% vertical pistol grip stocks, and they're wonderful. I mean, I own a Manners EH1. It's a beautiful stock for what it's designed for, but you can hardly get it in and out of a horse scabbard.
Sure. Yeah, it's not designed for that.
No. And then the other big piece is when you do have one in a backpack is having the barrel stick up 3 feet above your head or two. I'm short because I'm vertically challenged. So
we all are.
Yeah. I except Drew.
Sorry, Drew.
Except so that was another thing is it had to be able to fit that. So you start looking at, man, I got to be in and out of a pack. I got to be less than 7.5 pounds scoped and loaded. And then the big one is I got to do half MOA, right? So as we started putting those goals together, I had watched a video on the A-10 Warthog, and it's the first military airplane in the world designed around its weapon system. So the idea came up that we're going to design a rifle around a cartridge. And as that developed, we started running into this new powder that we found, and we started running into this propellant, and it's like, wow, this is going to change everything that we're doing. We're going to go back to the drawing board. And Brian Litz and Jeff Brozovich really were pushing the envelope of heavy for caliber bullets. And about the time we're really working on this, Jeff Brozovich comes out about 3 years ago and shoots 76 bull elk or 74 elk in a year on his ranch. His clients did, all with a 300 Winchester mag with a 215 grain Berger bullet. It wasn't going skyrocket fast,
sure,
but it was killing stuff at 1,000 yards. You can kill an elk at 1,000 yards. You can kill a sheep at any distance,
sure,
right? These are one-shot, dead in their track skills, photo, video. So I said, this works. We're on the right track, and worked back and forth with Brozovich, and we started with a 300 short mag and a 215 bullet. And so about that time, as we're working through that, we started working with this repellent. We started with a 26-inch barrel, which we knew was the upper, to me, it was 4 inches too long. So we started with a 26-inch barrel, and we started cutting down all the way to 16 inches. And at 16.5 inches with our powder, we were done burning. And We ran a heavier bullet, figured out exactly where we were at, said, okay, this is going to work. And then the guys at Hornady came out with a 300 PRC. So we tested the 300 PRC with our proprietary load development, and this is where you come in with the 300 Mountain Shadow. We take that case and we're the 300 Mountain Shadow with a 21-inch barrel, and a 212 grain bullet. We're at 29.25 feet per second out of the muzzle. At 1,000 yards, we're still carrying 1853, and 1853 is a significant number because 1800 for a lot of bullet manufacturers is the lowest velocity where the bullet is full performance. We love Nosler AccuBond bullets for hunting, and so that was a big crucial key. We're just over 2 tons of energy at the muzzle, and at 1,000 yards, we're still carrying 1,616 pounds of energy.
Wow. If
you take that with a 6.5 Creedmoor in a 24-inch barrel, 143 grain bullet, it's only got 841 pounds of energy at 1,000 yards. Yeah, and it only has 2,314 at the muzzle.
So it's half the energy of what the PRC is doing.
Yep. And then you look at the wind drift. If you talk to sheep hunters, there's 2 huge things that they talk about: wind and angle, right?
That's one thing you can't control is wind, right?
Yeah, you can't control the wind. So we wanted a big, heavy, long bullet because the big, heavy BC bullets buck the wind. So our wind drift, when you compare us, and you guys can't see it on this podcast, but we've got a test comparison table we did on the 10th of January. So our 21-inch Mountain Shadow versus a 26-inch Nosler, a 26-inch barrel 28 Nosler, or a 26-inch barrel 300 Win Mag, we're like a ballistic twin. So you say, well, okay, you're a 28 Nosler or a 300 Win Mag. Well, we tested ourselves against a 6.5 Creedmoor, a 7mm Win Mag, the 28 Nosler, the 300 Winchester Mag, and the 6.5 Creedmoor, because those are kind of the benchmarks out there. And I don't think anybody is going to say a 300 Win Mag can't kill or a 28 Nosler can't. Those are just absolutely proven, right?
Sure.
So our thing was if we could come up with ballistics somewhere between a 7mm Win Mag and a 300 Win Mag with this package, this overall length package, we knew we were onto something. So Drew at that point, I was working a lot with Drew, and Drew at that point had already got his patents for his barrel to receiver junction. I'll let Drew talk about that in just a second. So that cuts a lot of the high-frequency harmonics out. What a lot of guys don't realize is high-frequency and heavy bullets, high-frequency harmonics and heavy bullets don't go together. So when you walk around the sheep show, there's not a lot of technology in these ultralight rifles, and there's a lot of beautiful craftsmanship. They'll take a number 2 contour bullet or barrel, and you put on a lathe and mill it down beautifully, and they'll set the flutes back as far as they can. They'll put pressure on it, a pressure point in the stock. Those are all great things until you're on the mountain, because it's still a 24, 26-inch barrel. Your overall length of your gun's still 51, 52 inches. You know, these 28 Noslers are running 3-inch muzzle brakes on them on a 26-inch barrel.
Yeah.
And so with that, it's like, man, so what do you guys do? They start cheating the stock. And you see some of these rifles around here, I won't say any names, but there's a lot of work's been put into a stock that would really fit my daughter. And you get into a sheep hunting situation, you don't usually have a bench to shoot off of, right?
Yeah, you're on the side of a mountain, you're traversing up and down rocks or shale. Or
exactly. Yeah. So one of the biggest things that we looked at is I wanted this thing to fit and shoot like a big heavy gun, but to feel and weigh light.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted this thing to fit like a gun that you could comfortably shoot. If you look at the front of Drew's stock, it's very flat. You can see it online. It's very flat. When you put this thing on a bag, that's why we had the bag here. When you put this thing on a backpack, or you put it on a rock, it's level. I mean, it's easy to find level. It's easy to stay there.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just a huge thing. The other piece is the way that the recoil goes. I'll let Drew talk about what he put into a stock, but this is a 5-layer hand-laid stock. The only modification we did to the stock was in the fill. Let Drew talk about the fill. This is the same length of pull as our Altera rifle, as our 11-pound rifle. But Drew, through all the state-of-the-art technology and the CNC machining, and because we build our own stocks, Drew builds his own stocks. He's able to come up with some fill things and some CNC patterns that don't compromise anything, but just cut the weight down. We did source a recoil pad out of Italy, normal recoil pads, Limb Saver, Pacmars, a lot of guys use, which are great pads. We use them on our Alteras. They're 4.1 ounces. Our pad is just under an ounce. We use a titanium muzzle brake. We did not use a titanium action because most anybody that uses titanium action in extreme conditions, it galls and it has problems. There's all these wonder coatings you put on, but all of a sudden, at your wear point, your coating's off. Now you've got a bigger problem because now you've got a clearance issue and your coating is off.
Sure.
Right? So we knew we couldn't fix that, so we weren't going to reinvent the wheel. On our Magnum actions, it's a one-piece integrated recoil lug, and we bed the rifle individually, then we pull it out, and we skeletonize the recoil lug. On our short actions, we have that option, and we also have an option. Drew built a second action for this rifle. It's a two-piece, it's a pinned recoil, traditional lug, but it's titanium, because there's no moving parts there. And, we're able to save a half an ounce there.
Yeah.
Our triggers, every Mountain Shadow that ships has a Trigger Tech diamond trigger in it. Our initial prototypes didn't, but we were able to. A lot of guys said, well, that trigger's too light. It's a 2-pound trigger is the max you can get out of it. So one of the things that was great about what Drew was doing is he was using a heavy-duty firing pin spring already, because that's something you don't want to have a failure, right?
Sure,
and
you're done at that point.
Yeah, and a lot of guys cheat that. They'll use a light one so it feels really crisp and soft and sweet. Smooth, trying to cheat the trigger. We said, no, we went the other way. We spent another $100 at manufacturing cost side to go to the best trigger we could possibly find, hunting trigger we could possibly find, with the Trigger Tech Diamond, put that in. Now, because of our spring weight, we're at 2.5 pounds with no creep, less than 10 thousandths of creep. I mean, it's incredible, and it's kind of, dare we say, bulletproof. Wow. So, that was our goals around the Mountain Shadow. Something that was kind of cool is as we were doing this, all of a sudden cans have gotten super popular, and we really late to the show it. We didn't put a can on any of these. But if you take our 20-inch 6.5, which our 20-inch 6.5 Mountain Shadow, it leaves 143 grain bullet, leaves the barrel at 2,900 feet a second, 1,775 as a muzzle velocity to 1,000 yards, so it's still basically a 1,000-yard gun, right? And it's got 2,670 pounds of energy at the muzzle. It's got 1,000 pounds of energy at 1,000 yards. And the wind drift is only 0.24. Wind drift on our 300 is 0.22. The best thing that we tested in this whole test was a 28 nozzler, and it had a wind drift of 0.2 at a 10-mile-an-hour wind at 400 yards. But again, that's a 26-inch barrel, 3-inch muzzle brake, so that's not a sheep gun.
Yeah,
that's an outgun.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that. It's an outgun.
Yeah.
But here's the deal: why would you carry a heavy gun if you couldn't half-minute? So one of our gun testers, when we were building the Mountain Shadow, Reed loves big, heavy, long guns, and he was testing guns, and we gave him the Mountain Shadow. Oh my God, what is this? And he goes, "This thing's not going to shoot." I said, "Just shoot it. I don't need your opinion. I just need to shoot it. Send me a target. Send me what results you get out of it." I couldn't be there that day. The first 5-shot group was 0.16 MOA.
Wow.
So then he goes, "Hey, I got a good group out of that." I go, "How many rounds you fire?" He goes, 5. And so, "How long did it take you to get?" Because that was my group. He goes, right out of the box. The first 5 rounds he put the thing, shot that group. I said, cool. So then he went out and shot 944, and he shot 1,200, and we were within a quarter MOA all the way out to 1,200.
Jeez.
Yeah, and that was
incredible.
A prototype. That was a prototype that there was no load development there. We were actually shooting loads to do load development. So all we did was a baseline load out of it. Our partners at Choice Ammunition, are doing great things. We really like the ELDX and the AccuBond out of this because of the super heavy weight, We've also shot the 210 burgers out of the 215 burgers. This thing evolved, like we said.
Sure.
We had this thing tuned up with a 300 short mag with a 215 burger doing 27.77. It's like, it's going to be a great gun, but nobody's going to buy it because it doesn't have a big velocity number. And then, man, this 300, the new case that we're using just opens everything up. So to get, near 3,000 feet a second out of a gun with a 21-inch barrel is pretty incredible.
And still to have that energy out to 1,000 yards too. That's what it's about,
that's
right?
Is having energy. You cannot. There's no replacement for displacement.
You can't substitute that. Yeah. Exactly.
We call it substance at a distance, man. There's just you got to have it.
Yeah.
The other cool thing about this, and you guys, you can't see it. This is a full Sendero. The gun you picked up earlier, that's a full Sendero-proof carbon fiber barrel. Now, we are shipping these with Sendero if a guy wants a Sendero or a light Sendero. The light Sendero is 2 ounces lighter. It doesn't look as good because the full Sendero 21-inch just looks like it's ready to do business.
Yeah.
This thing is utilitarian. We've tested this. If you look behind it, we can see where we tested this thing in the snow. We got Rex with our action pack full of snow, and Drew will talk about the lockup points, but that's kind of where we're at, and this thing, again, being able to shoot this nice, thick, full-size, full-diameter barrel. We shot 15, 16 round groups out of them, not having any problems. I mean, just boom, 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 boom. Whereas, you shoot a lot of the lighter guns, you usually it's a two-shot group.
Yeah.
A lot of shoot guns are two-shot groups. We want you to go out and shoot 15, 16 shot groups out, because guess what? One of the things we talked to the sheep guides is everybody gets up here and their dream is to get one shot, one kill, and they go nuts and they lose their shit.
Yeah.
And they said a lot of times, if you're mellow, the sheep will kind of be looking around, figuring out what's going on. I said, what happens when you start pulling the trigger a bunch of times? They said a lot of times, man, guys will shoot 5, 6 shots, getting on these sheep. So,
well, nerves and a lot of things take over at that point too.
I won't say his name, but a good friend of mine that was a long-range guru killed a huge sheep in the Middle Fork of Idaho about 13 years ago. And the story goes, it took him 13 rounds to kill it. It was 138 yards.
Yeah. He killed it, though, right?
He killed it. That's all that matters, is that he killed it.
It's on his wall now.
Yeah, but if he'd have had a gun that shot 1 or 2 shot groups, it'd have been bad.
Done deal. Yeah.
Yep. And the other thing is, we have tested this, and we've got it set up with our ammo partner builds a Barnes LRX, a Nosler AccuBond, a Burger, a couple of different variations of the Burger, and then the ELDX, ELDM. So there are both options, and there's lead-free options for guys like you living in California. This is a great Tule elk rifle. It's a great California sheep rifle. So I'll let Drew talk about some of the technology of your action and the stock especially.
Yeah. So basically, what we wanted to accomplish from the beginning of this company is we wanted to build a rifle that had bench rest accuracy, but still had field reliability.
Yeah.
And there's usually a dichotomy between those two. Usually you have to compromise accuracy to get field reliability or vice versa.
Right, one or the other, yeah.
So basically we came up with our ATAS system, or Axial Trajectory Alignment System, basically making everything perfectly aligned with the bore of the barrel. And then we have our asymmetric receiver design system, which basically allows loose tolerances when you're cycling the bolt and very tight tolerances when it's locked up and ready to go.
Okay.
So we basically have bench rest accuracy, but it's very reliable, clearing dirt, mud, and grime in the field. And all of that technology is built into all of our rifles. And the Mountain Shadow is just another platform that we use that technology and to its full potential.
Drew, can you talk about the stock and some of the thermodynamics work you've done on the muzzle brake? Because a lot of guys I don't think realize how much work has went into our titanium muzzle brake.
Yeah, so we build all our own parts. It's all our design. We're not the type of guys that buy an off-the-shelf something and put our name on it. We have been working on this for 5 years. We've only been selling these things for 2 years because we had 3 years of just R&D.
Yeah.
So we actually had our engineers, and we tasked them with coming up with a muzzle brake design that had the least amount of recoil, felt recoil, but also had the least amount of heard noise by the shooter. So we actually we designed these brakes and then ran them through some software that simulated the thermal dynamics and energies and noise. And this is the design that we end up coming up with. It's incorporated, that technology is incorporated in all 3 sizes of our brakes.
So one thing you don't see here, Lucas, is we drew up a muzzle brake last week. It's titanium version of this one that I'm pointing at here, this big stainless brake. So that particular gun is a big, that's a big 28 nozzle there, 11 pounds right out with a big Snyder scope on it. But that brake, we actually are going to cut out of titanium, and see how it's got the 3 windows?
Yeah.
We can do a couple things. We can take that to a 4-window brake and put on like a 6.5 Creedmoor Mountain Shadow. Now you've got a gun that's got a 20-inch barrel. It weighs 6 pounds, 4 or 5 ounces scoped, right? You put a muzzle brake like that on it, and a kid can shoot it, or anybody's recoil.
You can sit behind it, and you can sit under the scope the whole time.
No recoil.
This particular gun that Kurt's pointing at, is a 338 Edge. So it's basically a 300 rum necked up to a 338 with a Ackley shoulder angle. and this thing kicks like a 308.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So.
And that's key. I mean, when you think about on some of these shots you're making at 1,000 yards, if you don't have anyone there, hopefully you got someone there to be under glass with you. But if you're there by yourself and you shoot, you want to be able to sit under that if you can and watch the impact, right?
Absolutely.
And if
Absolutely.
you got a kicking mule that smacks up, I mean, and you got no muzzle brake or depending on the style of the rifle, you got to try to find that animal back in the sight glass again. That can be tough. So
one of the ways we counteracted that also is we made the actual stock recoil back into your shoulder. It's not only got a negative comb, but the recoil goes into the stock rather than over a fulcrum point above the stock.
Okay.
So you end up having better next target acquisition due to just the stock design.
And again, to me, it's always been important by getting kids into it. And if a guy doesn't want to have a specific kid's rifle, again, we can take an inch off of the stock. We can drop the length of pull 1 inch. It's real easy to we actually have a way of adjusting that, right, and put an inch back into it. But a 6.5 Creedmoor, or even our big 6.5, it's, I don't know, I think it's 4 ounces heavier for our big 6.5. There's no recoil. I mean, there's no recoil with it, with that brake. But here's the next thing we talk about, these cans. Now you take a 20-inch or a 20-inch 6.5, which will kill pretty much anything in New Zealand. Our big 6.5 will. Or you take our big 300 and put that in a 21-inch, put a 6-inch can on it. You're at the same overall length. You're 2 inches less than a 28 nozzle with a 26-inch barrel and a 3-inch brake. You know, and just getting it. We look at these cases. You'll never get a lot of these cases. Are people are cheating the hard case. We're pointing at a hard case. These Pelican cases, a lot of guys will cheat the foam out an inch because you don't have enough length in it once you get the brake and the gun on. A lot of guys are going 28-inch barrels. I firmly believe once people see the technology, we're going to be headed towards a 21, 22-inch. We're actually doing some testing for some special forces now.
Wow, that's cool.
They don't want to carry a big, heavy gun either.
Sure.
And the harmonics is, you start having an X factor. I mean, you can have two different pieces of steel relieved differently. It's like longer barrels typically shoot so much differently, per kind of case lot.
Yeah. So you guys are releasing this rifle here at this show, and this has been your big launch because I've seen some of your social media postings that you guys have been putting out. So I'm looking at a system here that's completely set up. It's got a rangefinder, it's got matched ammunition, it's got everything out the box, and that's how you guys build these?
Correct.
Yeah, that's one
can you
option.
Can you buy just the rifle with itself and have a guy tune it himself, or do you guys typically do the full setup?
We typically do the full setup, but you can buy just the rifle, but it comes with load development.
Yeah.
Because the Mountain Shadow is built, again, around the cartridge.
And just so guys aren't scared, our ammo loaded from Choice, which is hand-loaded ammunition, I mean, it's
top of the line.
It's top of the line components all the way through. We're at $69.99 for the 6.5, and we're at $79.99 for the 300. We know that is ranging way down. We procured a bunch of components, and we haven't got the cost figured. But our goal price for that is to be about $56 a box for both of them, for a box of 20. And
which is a good price. When you think about load development, you're usually paying $80 to $90 or more for a box of ammunition.
Yep. And we have two different levels, so you could buy that is tuned across the board. We've got a couple rifles I tested with and came up with one that works extremely well. If you want it hand-tuned, hand-tailored to your exact serial number, we'll do that too. That's a $1,000 package, but the ammo price is the same. But
sure.
And our verification process is a little bit different. If you do the full 1,000-yard verification, we shoot at 100, 300, 500, 700, and 1,000. We record all the drop data. You ship Drew your rangefinder or your scope. We'll program all of it in, whether it's binoculars or whatever. We'll program all of it in. We'll pay for freight both ways. But when the gun comes back, you have 40 rounds of ammo. It's been broken. It's been cleaned. It's ready to go hunt, and you have your exact drop data.
It's out of the box, ready to go.
It's out of the box, and you're getting a target. You're getting a target at each of those distances. You get to proof targets. So
that's cool.
Yep.
Wow. it's amazing now. I mean, you do walk around these shows and you do see a lot of long-range manufacturers. I mean, you're seeing more and more every year. But it's been interesting watching your guys' growth and what you guys have been doing, and it's very cutting-edge stuff, you know, and I think a lot of it is behind the technology, the engineering behind these. I mean, to take a 7-pound rifle out the box and to be able to shoot it scoped
loaded.
7 pounds
and loaded,
ready to go.
Yeah.
That's incredible that we're at that point, right? I mean, I remember when you were trying to break 10 pounds, right? And then you got to 8 pounds, and it's just incredible what these guns are doing. They're lighter, they're faster. I mean, they're doing everything that they're designed to do. It's just you're looking at all these little, like you say, you know, CNC this, lathe this, and you're taking out, you know, a gram here, a couple grams here, an ounce here, an ounce there, and that adds up over time.
We took a brand new, I won't say the name, we took a brand new, what is kind of the benchmark production rifle. It's on a mountain, and you ascend up it to get one.
Oh, okay.
we took a brand new one and took it up, because that is a benchmark.
Yeah,
it is an awesome benchmark. We took
ultralight
that
rifle, right?
And took every single part of it apart and weighed it. And I thought Drew was going to go nuts. And then next thing I know, Drew's like getting another Scout. We're weighing this, we're weighing that, we're weighing this. And then comparing parts and pulling that off. And Drew's writing stuff down, and I'm writing stuff down. I was like, hold on, instead of this, we could do this. Instead of this, we could do this.
Sure.
Because when I first told Drew the weight, he's like, there's no way I can get there. I mean, he looked at me like I was crazy. Like, why would you ever want to talk to me about I cannot get there?
Yeah. How do we get there? How do we figure this out?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What you guys have obviously
He thought I
done.
was psycho.
We didn't want to sacrifice any of our technology and cut anything out of the receiver or build a gun that wasn't shootable.
So that was a big thing. I looked at Drew at first. I said, Drew, a lot of guys are milling around the receiver, thinning it up. And he's like, no.
That's not what we do.
No. He goes, I've got 2 places on the receiver I could do it, not sacrifice anything, but if we can get there without it, there's another 2 ounces in this gun that can come out of it tomorrow. We know right where it's at. And it wouldn't sacrifice anything, but it's too far for Drew.
Sure.
Because we don't need to get there. We just don't feel it's...
Well, you're setting a benchmark now. I mean, like say with a 7-pound rifle, so ready to go out the box. It's
and
incredible.
this guy could take this action. I challenge anybody. Go look at anybody's lightweight rifles. Look at what action they are. They've generally milled down some action.
Sure.
If you took the action out of this rifle and put it in the Altera, or put it in the Arid, which is the heaviest rifle Drew builds, or the new ATAC 1760, which will be the first rifle ever to hit production, shot and verified, and comes with the ammo for a mile. It's our mile project. It's the same action. It's the same weight. They're interchangeable. The bolts are interchangeable. There's no different. So.
Wow. Very cool. Well, awesome, guys. It's cool to see what you guys have been doing. It's good to see new technology. It's good to see innovation. I mean, that's clearly something you guys are pushing. And, I mean, it's competition. Every time you turn around, there's someone else that's got a new, I say a mousetrap, but, you know, it's a lighter, right? It's faster.
Yeah.
I'm an archery guy, so when I look at bows every year, you know, how can you get one lighter, axle to axle, you know, 24, 26, 28 inches, and then how do you make them faster? And that's what they're doing every year with these bows, is they're making them faster and lighter. So it's incredible.
He shoots better groups at 100 with a bow than most guys shoot with a rifle. It's pretty insane. I got to give you credit for that. You know, one other thing I'll say, being in the business community in Boise, in my real job that I am, a lot of folks are just buying parts. And they're putting and it doesn't create any new jobs. They're manufacturing. They're just buying an action from this guy, a stock from this guy, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody gets started somewhere. But the fact that Drew is organically creating jobs in Boise, Idaho, means so much to me and my family and that community. You know, and they're high paying. You know, they're high paying jobs. They're engineer jobs. They're manufacturing jobs. Carbon. I mean, if you look at our stocks, we don't have a stock here at this show that's wrapped or painted. There's no sponge paint. Can it be done? Can Axial do that? Can Drew do? Absolutely can.
Yeah.
But I looked, I said, Drew, you have the hood of a Ferrari sitting here. Show that thing off. That's the sexiest carbon fiber that I've seen.
Yeah,
you know?
They are pretty. Yep. You walk by, it definitely catches your eye when you walk by. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Lucas, for having us. We love you.
Always great having and catching up with you guys. Yeah, and like I said, I'm excited to see where this goes next year. And obviously, I'm sure you guys got some things down the pike coming. And we'll just have to catch up another time, and
I think
we'll be talking about that
for something new for a while.
Next year we'll be talking about the 6-pound rifle, right?
Yeah. Right now Drew's getting ready to move into his facility. What, tripled your size?
5 times.
5 times the size.
That's awesome.
And I'm trying to talk him into putting a retail center in the front of that.
Well, to be U.S. made, started, and giving jobs to people that need them in the States, that's what it's all about.
Keep it
Giving
local,
back.
absolutely.
Keep it local. Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, guys.
Thank you, Lucas.
Sheep
Thanks.
Show 2019. Checking out Axial Precision. Thanks, guys.
Hey everyone, this is Lucas Paw, host of the RNA Outdoors podcast. Please check out Podbean and iTunes. If you have an iPhone or iPad, go to the podcast app on your device, search for RNA Outdoors, and hit the purple subscribe button. When doing this, it will automatically upload when new podcasts are loaded, and they will download into your queue. For Android users, you can access the podcast through Podbean, Stitcher, or use our website, www.rnaoutdoors.com/podcast. In addition, under the RNA Outdoors podcast channel, please leave a review and a 5-star rating. These reviews help boost our popularity and outreach. You can also follow us on our social media outlets, Twitter at RNA Outdoors, Facebook, RNA Outdoors, and Instagram, Rod and Arrow Outdoors. All links are in the show notes as well. If you like what you've heard, we hope you'll pass along our channel to your friends and colleagues. Keep up the good fight. We cannot sit by and watch the public lands devoted to wildlife protection wither away. There's simply too much at stake. Make your voice heard, speak up, and get involved with conservation efforts, and know that every little bit helps. As we say on the mountain, go farther, stay longer.